What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Here to give you my Week 1 picks. Week 1 starts in a couple days. Today is Tuesday, September 5th. Thursday night's game is the first game of the NFL season. Lion versus Chiefs. So, should be a good one. It's a bunch of good games throughout this first week. So, let's get into it, guys. I will also be giving you one lock, which is one guarantee, one I'm super duper confident in. And so yeah, let's get into it. And also, before we get started, give me your guaranteed lock. Which game or which team do you believe is a guarantee to win in Week 1? Mine is pretty high up, well, pretty early on in this list. So let's get started first with the Lions and the Chiefs. Thursday night game comes on in 2 days. I'm super excited, but my thoughts on this one might be a little controversial, right? So Chiefs, the defending champs, coming in. Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce, we know the whole squad, but they're without Chris Jones. He's on a holdout and he's serious. As of right now, recording this video at 9:30 in the morning Tuesday, 2 games before the game. There's been no news about Chris Jones' contract. He's still on a holdout, and I believe that holdout will come to an end after this game because I think the Lions will blow the Chiefs out. I really do, for a few reasons. One, they need Chris Jones very badly. They have no Charles Amen, who also a guy they signed for agency, who's been good the last couple years. Years with the Titans, years with the Niners. He's out on either 4 or 6 games suspension. I forgot which one exactly, but he's out for a good little while. Then there's no Chris Jones. There's relatively no pass rush to worry about for the Detroit Lions, who has a good old line, who has a bunch of weapons, who has Jameer Gibbs, who I think will go off in this game. Him and my Falcons running back Bijan Robinson are going to be up for Rookie of the Year, in my personal opinion, and I think Bijan will have a heck of a year. Might not be crazy big numbers, but I think a lot of touchdowns, a lot of wild plays. His speed, his quickness will show off in this game. Everything I've seen from him in training camp, he's going to be going off. So me personally, I have Jameer Gibbs for 2 touchdowns. I'm throwing a bunch of money on it. But yeah, I do believe the Lions will beat the mess out of the Chiefs. And even if it's not a typical 20-point plus blowout, it could be a 10-point win, but the Lions control and dominate the whole game. Or like the Chiefs might come back later in the game and make it kind of close. But I think, if it's not a typical 20-point blowout, I think the Lions will dominate and crush the Chiefs pretty much the entire game. That's my point on that. And then the Chiefs will be forced to pay Chris Jones right after the game, probably Monday morning, probably Friday, Saturday. I think they will probably pay Chris Jones. Their defense will not be good, in my opinion, without Chris Jones. So that's that for me. I have Lions winning that matchup. Next up, Texans versus Ravens. Here's my guaranteed lock. I have the Ravens win this game pretty easily. C.J. Stroud first start versus some people say a Super Bowl contending team. If you don't feel that strong about them, they're at least a playoff contending team, and they've been a perennial playoff team for the last decade plus. So the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, in a new system, a new scheme. He's under center for the most part now. Something he hasn't done since college. A lot of Ravens fans I've talked to saying they don't like it already. We haven't seen it in action yet. But even if they struggle, I think it's just too much defense, too much offense, too much talent, and too much of a winning situation in Baltimore for them to lose to Houston in Week 1. So I have the Ravens on a lock winning this game, honestly. Next up, the Bengals versus Browns. Tough game. We all do know the Bengals haven't beat the Browns in the last 10 plus matchups. I think that continues. I think Deshaun Watson bounces back. I think Nick Chubb goes off as he normally does, and I'm in love with the Browns defense. I've been saying it all off season. I've said it for my Super Bowl prediction video. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. I have Browns versus Seahawks. It sounds crazy. It sounds insane, but I really, really believe in it, guys. So yeah, Browns win this matchup. Joe Burrow banged up. That knee injury from a couple weeks ago. I'm also on record saying Joe should sit the first couple weeks. But that's just me. I might be overly cautious, but I would love for Burrow to sit a couple of weeks. But either way, play or not, if Joe Burrow plays or not, I think Browns win this matchup. Um, Blowout, pretty close. Not quite sure. Not doing a score, but I do think the Browns win. Uh, Probably pretty easily, in my honest opinion. So far, I have the Lions winning. I have the Ravens as my guaranteed lock, and I have the Browns beating the Bengals. Next up, Vikings versus Buccaneers. Um, the question of the day is: or at least of this game, do you trust Baker? Do you trust Baker? And the answer is maybe, maybe. But this game, I say no. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, I think explosive offense, offense I said that would be top five last year, which I was right in. I think they're going to be around top five this year, top seven. Jordan Addison replaces Adam Thielen. Cook is gone now. They've been had Madison, the backup, who's now the starter. I think they'll be just fine offensively. Second year in the Viking system, in the new system they added last year to new head coach. I think they'll be just fine. I think the Buccaneers will be in tank mode by the NFL trade deadline. I've been saying this since early on in the offseason. I think Mike Evans will be gone. So I think for that to happen, I think the Bucs will be on a major losing streak. 0-6, I'm not quite sure, but I don't think they'll be a winning team by the trade deadline. So I have the Vikings pretty easily over the Buccaneers. Um, but if Baker does surprise me, or surprise some of us and does play well, he has the weapons. Mike Evans, Godwin's, Gage is out. But he has some good weapons. The O-line is a little shoddy. The running game is a little shoddy, and that was the case with Brady also. So that's nothing new. The defense isn't what it was the last couple years. The last three, well, it wasn't what it isn't what it. Well, I can't even talk. It isn't what it was 3 years ago. It's not even what it was last year either, which was an okay team. An okay defensive squad. So for me, I had the Vikings winning pretty easily in this matchup here. Next up, Titans versus the Saints. Could be a good matchup, but I have the Saints. Not really hesitant on this one. I have the Titans similar to the Bucks, similar to a couple other teams. I think they're going to be trash. I really do. I don't know what Hawkins went there. I could be wrong, but I think there will be a seller at the deadline also, or at least this all season. Henry will be gone. Tannehill will be gone. Hawkins could be traded and keep that contract. Maybe you never know. So I definitely think the Titans are in for a rough season. They still have good players, good weapons, but just not enough to beat a playoff team, in my opinion. So I like the Saints a lot. I like the Saints defense. Love Cam Jordan, Tyrann Mathieu, Alontae Taylor, the whole squad. So they have Derek Carr now. If Michael Thomas can stay healthy, they have Chris Olave. The O line is decent. I love their running backs. Geez, they have like 4 good running backs. So I love their running back game. Jamal Williams. Kamara's out for 2 or 3 games, but they have the kid from TCU last year. They have another veteran I like a lot. So they have a bunch of guys that can get the job done in that backfield. And I do like Derek Carr at quarterback also. So this one could be a close game. I'm not going to say it's a blowout, but I do have the Titans winning. I do have the Saints winning this game over the Titans. Next up, NFC South matchup. My favorite team, the Falcons versus the Panthers, and I'm coming in non-biased. I'm not going to lie to you. No biasness here. I think my Falcons are a little bit better than the Panthers right now. When we meet later on during the season, Bryce Young gets a rhythm, then I'll be a little nervous. But right now, I'm not too concerned. I don't think any rookie quarterback this year will win their first start, or at least week one. So with that being the case, I do have the Panthers losing to my Falcons. Bijan Robinson, his debut, pro debut in the regular season. Desmond Ridder taking over the reins officially. Played the last 4 games last year. I'm excited to see what he does for a full season. Please get Kyle Pitts involved. Please get Bijan involved. And I think our running attack will be amazing. Play action attack will be amazing. So I think we'll win this matchup here. I want to go to this game so bad. I might go to the second one. So we'll see there. But I do have my Falcons winning this matchup. We will start 1-0, hopefully. Next up, like I just said, rookie quarterbacks will lose their week 1 matchups. Jaguars versus Colts. I have the Jaguars. Plain and simple. Colts are a dumpster fire right now, especially without Jonathan Taylor. Anthony Richardson probably will have some wild plays as far as good and bad. While he made that throw and why he threw that. So I think the Jags win this game pretty easily in this matchup here. Next up, a very, very, very good game. I need to watch. Hopefully, I'm able to watch this game. Niners versus Steelers. This is a tough one. Can Brock Purdy survive the Steelers defense? This is his first start first game, first regular season game since the injury from last year's playoff matchup. I had the Steelers being a good team this season. I really do. To start off week 1 versus the Niners would be a good test. I have the Steelers winning. I have the Steelers beating the Niners, and to me, it doesn't sound so crazy. Who's gonna check George Pickens? Who's gonna check Deontay Johnson? I'm not a fan of the running game. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really a fan of Najee Harris anymore, like I used to be. But I do love Jaylen Warren, a change of pace back. Excuse me. But I do think it'll be a pretty good matchup. Who makes the most mistakes, Brock Purdy or Kenny Pickett? And who's going to stop George Pickens? Can Brock Purdy survive the defense? Also, can Kenny Pickett overcome the Niners' often, top-notch defense? So that's a tough question as well. So we'll figure out a lot about these young guys week 1 as Pickett and as far as Pickett and Brock Purdy goes. This should be a good matchup. I have the Steelers winning, probably a pretty tight one. And this is one, if you're gonna bet, I think you should avoid this one. This one might be, a little tough one. I don't know the money line bet for this one, but I will lean towards the Steelers, for my personal opinion. Next up, Cardinals versus Commanders. Commanders should win this. Shouldn't be a problem. The starter, I think Joshua Dobbs. Come on now, come on. Commanders should be 1-0. It shouldn't be that much of detail. The Cardinals are dumpster fire. They're garbage right now. They're trying to be garbage on purpose. So it makes sense. So I'm not tripping off this game too much. Commanders versus Cardinals. Commanders should win pretty easily. Next up, another good one. A low-key good one. Could be a good game. Could be a little trashy. Depends on how everything pans out. But the Raiders versus Broncos. And when I seen this and thought about this, I'm like, man, I'm kind of torn. I like Renfro a lot. I've been on record saying Russell and Sean Payton will have a good start to the season, but everything I've been seeing from the from the Broncos off season and in their training camp, saying Sean Payton has Russ on a short leash and Russ hasn't been playing well really, and I'm like, man, I don't know, but I do think if I had to bet on it on this game, which I definitely am. I think the Broncos overcome the Raiders. The Broncos have a better defense. They have an overall better team. Russ has better weapons, and the ups the Raiders have on the Broncos is the better running back in Josh Jacobs. But outside of that, Russell is the Broncos are better in every other situation in every other aspect. So I have the Broncos winning, even if Russ struggles. I hope he plays better than he did last year, but. I do have the Broncos winning this matchup mainly because of their defense, but maybe because of Russ too. So we'll see what Russ does bring. And I'm on record as well saying I'm not a fan of Jimmy G pairing with Devontae Adams. They don't really fit each other, honestly. For me, I would love someone to really push the ball downfield to go with a guy like Devontae Adams, but we'll see how it goes there. I do love the actual fit of Hunter Renfrow of Jacoby Myers with Jimmy G, but not so much loving the fit of Devontae Adams with Jimmy G. So, as I said, we'll see how that goes. I'm not the most optimistic about it, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. Next up, Eagles versus Patriots. Eagles, I don't really see it being that tough. Hurts and the Eagles were a juggernaut last year. I think they'll be a pretty strong team this year. I think not as good, but I think they'll be a pretty strong team this year also. I don't see it being that close. I don't believe in Mac Jones. I'm very surprised that they kind of gave up on Bailey Zapp. Not gave up, but kind of demoted him in a sort of way, But, I do have to understand as well, Mac Jones didn't have a real OC last year. He had Matt Patricia. So I do understand that. He has Bill O'Brien now. So, I do get it. but I really like the Eagles a lot more. Clearly, offensively and defensively too. Who's going to check A.J. Brown? Who's going to check Devontae Smith? Who's going to check Goddard? The run game should be going crazy. It's just too much. Eagles have too much for a lot of teams. And the Patriots won't be trash, in my opinion. It's just too much. It's just too much of them, man. So for me, I have the Eagles pretty easily. I don't really see them being that too tough of a game for them. Next up, a good one. Third to last game, Dolphins versus Chargers. Wow, this is a good one. Dolphins versus Chargers. Whew, this kind of a toss up. I believe in Tua. I've been a Tua fan since Bama. I think I was, yeah, I'll do my YouTube channel back when Tua got drafted. I was screaming from the hilltops. Tua's the best from the draft class. I was wrong there, but I do believe in Tua. I do believe in that defense, whether they have Ramsey or not. I think this should be a pretty good game, but I do have the Dolphins squeaking this one out. Next up, Rams versus Seahawks. Seahawks, clearly, not going to go discussion about it. The Rams are trash. Uh, clear as that. Simple as that, excuse me. The Rams are just trash, so no point in going on too far about that one. Cowboys versus Giants. Another toss-up. Another good one. A great way to end your night, honestly. Should be a good game. I have the Giants winning this matchup. I think that defense is legit for for the New York Giants. That defense should be legit. Both team defense should be legit, honestly, but I love the pass rush. And they just keep adding guys and adding guys. I'm like, geez Louise. And I think the pressure will be in Dak's face all night. And I think that will force, Dak to make the game losing the decision from an interception or a fumble or something. So I do have the Giants squeaking this one out, probably by a field goal. Should be a good game. And lastly, Bills versus Jets. Aaron Rodgers' debut with the Jets. I have the Jets. I really do. Who is going to stop Garrett Wilson? Looking at the Bills cornerback room, I've been dying. I'm not a Bills fan, as I said earlier. I'm a Falcons fan. But I've been dying for the Bills to get better in that DB spot. And that corner, and Tre'Davious White came back last year, looked like a shell of himself. Hopefully he looks better this year. I have no word from training camp. I haven't really looked it up or nothing. But if he's back to the star cornerback level, then cool. Bills could definitely win this game. But I still love Lazard. I still love McCole Hardman. This Jets team has a squad. Their defense is still legit. They might not be one of the best like they were last year, but they can definitely still be solid enough to be carried by a better offense than they had last year, led by Mike White and Zach Wilson. So for me, I have this been a close game, but I have it being squeaked out by the Jets. I think enough defense from New York along with Aaron Rodgers. And people, for some reason, for me, I understand Rodgers wasn't great last year, but he had two rookies. He had Christian Watson and he had Romeo Doubs as his main two guys, his main two weapons. I don't understand what the issue about understanding that is. Now you have Alan Lazard, who was legit last year. He dropped some balls and, a little mistakes here and there, but great run blocking wide receiver, probably one of the best in the NFL right now. You have Garrett Wilson, who's a young stud. You have McCole Hardman, who's a speedster. You have 3-4 good running backs. Like you have weapons on galore if you're the New York Jets. Plus, there's no Von Miller for that Buffalo Bills team. So for me, it's looking like the Jets going to squeak out a Monday night win. I say by 3 points. But yeah, I do have the Jets winning this matchup. Should be a good one. Should be a fun one. Could it be game of the week? Definitely this one or the Giants versus Cowboys could be one also. Patriots versus Eagles, maybe if the Matt Jones improved them enough or more than what I'm thinking personally. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see how everything turns out. But that's how I see it so far, guys. And like I said, my lock of the week is Ravens versus Texans. I have the Ravens winning that pretty easily. So that's it for the video, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.